Which mythical creature never cleans its room?
I don't know.
The Loch Ness Monster.
Oh God, off to a good start. Okay.
Why are squids so funny?
Oh, I know where this is going, but I don't know why.
They're always cracking jokes.
There we go.
Ask me if the abominable snowman is called.
What is called?
Ask me if the abominable snowman has called.
Oh, has the abominable snowman called?
Not yeti.
Oh no.
All right, last one. What do you call a sea creature that tells witty jokes?
A sea creature says witty jokes. Oh, a mermaid. No, it doesn't work. A mermaid. No, that doesn't make any sense. What is it?
Wisecracking.
Oh, I should have gone back to Kraken. Okay.
I know. Okay, so what did all these jokes have in common?
They are all awful.
Besides that, they made you laugh.
They did, yeah, that's true actually. They all contain creatures from fairy tales and stuff.
Yeah. So this week we're going to talk about cryptids and what they are and all the different, 10 of the different kinds.
Okay.
So in that case,
let's get ready to mumble! Right, so what's the description of a cryptid?
I have a lot of cryptid information.
Alright, okay, let's listen to that.
So there is a science called cryptozoology.
Uh-huh.
It is the study of creatures whose existence has not yet to be or cannot entirely be proven or disproved by science.
Oh. See, that's actually quite a cool type of animal, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cryptid.
So it's a pseudoscience, so it doesn't follow the scientific method. And it includes creatures of folklore as well as animals that are considered to be extinct, like dinosaurs. Because even though there's proof, there's not... Like, you can't see a dinosaur.
Okay. For sure, but like, paleontology studies is a scientific study of dinosaurs.
But they're still considered cryptids.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess. All right.
And so cryptid is an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated.
And to what degree does that go to, though?
Well, so there's this guy who was a cryptozoologist, and he broke them down into 10 different categories. So they have to fall under one of these categories to be considered a cryptid.
Okay.
So the first one is a distribution of anomalies. So these are animals that were reported outside of the normal range. So like an animal that's not supposed to be somewhere that it is.
So do you mean like a fish on land, or do you mean like I can't think of anything else.
So apparently there was like big cats in the UK.
Okay, like so it's things outside the normal habitat type stuff. Okay, got it.
So that's the first one. The second one is undescribed, unusual, or outsized variations of known species.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So like a giant anaconda or like something really big. Third one is survivals of recently extinct species. Like the dodo or, I don't know, I guess the white rhino now, I think. But yeah, okay. Or Tasmanian tiger was one of the ones.
Ah, yes.
4 is survival of species known only from fossil record into modern time. So that'd be like a dinosaur, I think.
Yeah, so that'd be like the megalodon we're going to talk about, I think, because that's from the period, like, it's from dinosaurs. Or like essentially like the Loch Ness Monster, because it's thought to be been around dinosaur times. Mm-hmm. No, but it's not from fossils, because they don't have fossils.
So that one's a different one.
That'd be thing was basically Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's also lingerlings, and these are survivals of species known from fossil record into much later historical times. So these are like things that they thought were dead a long time ago, but then they've actually found fossils that prove that they were alive a lot more recent than they thought.
Oh, okay. So it's like a dinosaur from 200 years ago that they thought died a million years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Type of thing.
Yep. 6 was animals not known to fossil record, but related to known species. So this would be like striped manta rays, or like this Andean wolf.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like, a slightly different species of the same thing. So it's the difference between a mountain lion, or that's not a real lion. Okay, yeah, I get where that's coming from, though.
7 are animals not known to fossil record nor related to any known species. So these are like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, things like that.
Okay.
8 mythical animals with zoological basis, like a griffin.
9
are seemingly paranormal or supernatural entities with some animal-like characteristics, like black dogs, vampires, fairies, those types of things.
Okay.
And then 10 is known hoaxes or probable misidentifications, like a jackalope.
I don't know what a jackalope is, but okay.
It's an antlered rabbit.
Oh no, okay, I've seen pictures of them, yeah. Okay, I did not know it covered that many things, and that's already made this quite interesting for me.
Yeah, and then there's 6 exclusions. So, like, it has to be one of them, and it can't be one of the exclusions.
Oh, okay.
And the exclusions are insignificant, so it has to be big, weird, dangerous, or significant in some way.
Oh, okay, so it can't be like a new ant type thing, okay.
Number 2 is a lack of controversy, so it needs to have one side, like, observing and one side disproving. So there has to be controversy surrounding it.
Okay, sure.
3 is erratics. It can't be random or, like, coincidence. So it can't be like, I adopted a lion and put it somewhere, and then that's why they found it.
Got you, okay.
It can't be bizarre humans. Like, it can't be a zombie. That doesn't count.
Well, vampire count then?
Vampire did count.
So that's strange, because that's the type of
Zombies
human,
didn't.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
no, because there's different mythology behind vampires, okay.
5 are angels and demons. So paranormal allowed only if it has an animal shape.
So if the demon's like Cerberus, the three-headed dog.
I don't know. Yeah. It has, like, a werewolf would count.
Okay.
But, like, just like an angel or a demon that doesn't take animal form would not count.
Okay.
And then number 6 is aliens.
I was going to ask about aliens as well. All right, that's all quite interesting.
Yeah.
So it can't be any of them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cryptology information.
Yeah, it's very selective. How to be. So how about, like, things like the crocodiles in the zoos in New York? Because they're not proven, but they're also not meant to be there. But they're also thought if they are there, it's because someone put them there.
So if somebody put them there, then they would not count. Because it would be human interaction.
Yeah, okay.
Or intervention.
So it's not a different creature, it's just crocodiles in New York, really. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go through a couple of them. By a couple, I mean quite a few of them. Some which are more well-known and impressive, some which are less so. But do you want to start, shall I?
Up to you.
All right, you described them, so I'll start off.
Okay.
My first one is the legend of El Chupacabra. I'm probably not saying it as quite as Spanish sounding as I should be. But are you familiar with Chupacabra?
I've heard of it. I don't really know what it is.
How old do you think the legend, I say, it's not much of a legend, of Chupacabra is?
Hundreds of years old.
No.
How old?
According to my research, 1995 was the first sighting of the Chupacabra. Huh. Which straight up tells me that it's false.
Yeah.
In my head, anyway. Because I was like, no, nothing. Something's not hidden for that amount of time. Yeah. You know, and even it says that it's not as if it was like talked about way back. That was the first report, and the first report was in Puerto Rico in March and August in 1995. Do you know what the Chupacabra was known for?
I don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah, well, nobody knows. That's the thing. Okay. So I'll tell you, there was 2 main types of form that it took that people believed were the Chupacabra. One was like a reptile-like creature, leathery, scaleless, and greenish, with sharp spikes down its back and like quills in its head, in its back, similar to like the Stegosaurus type stuff. If you remember, if you know that dinosaur. And it was about 3-4 feet tall and kind of hopped and jumped kind of like a kangaroo. So that's one, which is quite a descriptive. You can probably kind of picture something like that. Almost like an upright lizard, basically. Yeah. But the other one, which is a more common description, is kind of like a breed of wild dog. So it's on all fours, or sometimes it moves onto its back legs. And it's like a hairless dog, essentially, with a protruding spine. So basically an unfed dog. Pronounced eye sockets, fangs, claws, and kind of like a conventional predator. You know, just like how you normally notice it. Big, fangs as you would expect from a dog.
What is it known for? Like, what does it do?
So, Chupacabra, the translation of Chupacabra is goat sucker. Okay. Which comes down to the fact that they believe that back in 1995, in March and August in Puerto Rico, 150 farm animals were left dead. And it was apparently eyewitness eyewitnesses viewed these people, or this monster, this creature, killing them, and claiming this sort of type of body it had. The farm animals were apparently found to be drained of blood with puncture holes in their necks. No meat was taken. The animals weren't sort of, bits taken out of them, eaten, but they were just killed, which is kind of a big part of why people didn't quite understand what was going on and related to the creature, because you think hungry dogs would eat, but this didn't.
Not just like the blood.
And back in 1985, it was such a big sort of issue in Puerto Rico that the mayor, Jose Soto, recruited volunteers to hunt for the creature every night for a year. No surprisingly, with no success. So at the moment, it seems like just hill folk, farm people complaining that they lost their cattle and wondering why. I guess if they've been drained of blood, that is quite confusing. You don't quite understand what's going on, but
I wonder why they didn't just think it was a vampire or something. Like something that already people...
Well, it's because they had eyewitnesses.
Oh, okay.
And they thought that's how they described it, a sort of scaly-looking, spiny creature with kind of socketed eyes, but jumping around like a kangaroo. Oh yeah, there's some cryptozoologies claim that the Mayans may have encountered creatures like that years and years ago, but there's no real evidence for it. And the Mayan mythological creature, the Camazotos, is a known vampire bat. So it's similar to the sort of issues they have back in South America with vampire bats, but this is much, much bigger than a bat.
Yeah.
It's very different from other creatures because it's brand new. In my eyes, this is less than 30 years old.
Yeah.
I'm older than this legend.
Yeah.
It's been seen all around the world since it was first spoken about, from all over America, from Maine all the way down to Chile, in some places even Russia and Philippines has been mentioned, but only since 1995.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense, still in my eyes. The habit of eating livestock and drinking their blood and goats. There was some other killings that have been related to deaths of farm animals in this goes back, but I think this is people looking back at things and trying to combine them afterwards. In 1975, there were some killings in another town called Moco, but this was related to the vampire of Mocha, and this is thought to be by a satanic cult, but where the people drained the blood of farm animals. But this looked like it's just been sort of related to post the Chupacabra coming about. There was an investigation by a man named Benjamin Radford in 2011 trying to find the Chupacabra, and he went back to Puerto Rico and spoke to the people who initially found it, because it's not alive, surprisingly enough. And he sort of eventually, or his findings anyway, decided that the description they were getting was very closely related to the science fiction horror film The Species. Have you seen that? No, so it's like, I think there was like 3 of them perhaps in the early 90s. And it was an alien creature called Syl, and it was basically identical to the description. And he somehow proved that the lady who first witnessed it, Madeline Tolentino, had recently seen the movie. So they claim that's what was going on. In addition, other sort of things that, when further reported on, a lot of the animals weren't actually fully drained of blood. And they believe that the analysis of when a creature would attack another animal, such as a goat, they would attack the neck. If you've ever seen lions do it in documentaries, that's where they'd go. Yeah, so what do you think? Not that it's really think it's a real one or a fake one?
It doesn't sound very real.
No.
It sounds like somebody just watched a movie and got scared.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't deny that these things exist. Something is killing them.
Yeah.
But it's not a chupacabra.
No.
And the descriptions I've got kind of make it clear. I don't want to spoil anything until you had your fair share, but I think I was kind of a bit biased already, and maybe made you biased. But they believe it's just wild dogs who have got mange?
Mange.
Is it mange when they lose all their hair and stuff?
Yeah.
Like when they lose a lot of their hair, they're really frail. That's why it looks like their spines are coming out. Same with eye sockets, and they're dogs, so they've got fangs.
Okay.
That's what they believe it to be. Maybe coyotes have the same type of issue going on. It's still liked in South America because it's one of the really only cryptids they have.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I quite like the word chupacabra.
Yeah, I do too.
It's quite a good...
it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. You know, you could definitely make a movie out of it.
For sure.
obviously there has been a couple, not enough time to really have that bigger pop culture reference, but it's been referenced in a couple of movies and books since 1995, particularly some conspiracy movies, TV shows like documentaries. It's had a couple of movies, nope, I lied, no movies. Oh no, lots of movies, including Chupacabra, Dark Seas, and The Guns of El Chupacabra, and even in Indigenous, the movie last 3 years ago, it was involved in that somehow. And things like South Park have taken a piss out of it with the Chupacabra. You can imagine South Park going there. It was even in a Fantastic Four movie comic book at one point. It was like an antagonist. Huh. But again, it's just, I don't know what it looks like in that. I'd be quite interested to see.
Yeah.
But Chupacabra, somehow, even though it seems like it's been proven otherwise, with good scientific stuff, that's the first cryptid I looked into.
Cool.
Yeah, it's quite a good one. I don't mind that legend being alive.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like threatening though.
No.
Not that most of these are, but yeah. What's next?
Bigfoot.
That's more familiar.
Yeah. AKA Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
Yeah.
It's another good name.
This is American folklore. Supposedly inhabits the forests of Pacific Northwest. That's where it's been sighted a lot. It's a big, monkey-like, simian-like creature. Hairy, large, walks on two legs, humanoid type thing. That's what people describe it as. Roughly, there's ranges in the height. So 6'7" to 9'10". It's a pretty big difference. Big eyes, large, low-set forehead, dark hair. It's been described as black, dark brown, dark red. A strong, unpleasant smell. I want to know who's getting that close.
Yeah.
Footprints 24 inches long and 8 inches wide.
2 feet.
Yeah.
If it's 2 feet, even if you're 10 inches, 2 feet, size feet, that's big.
Yeah, he's an omnivore and mainly nocturnal. That's basically what people describe when they say they see him.
Yeah, quite consistently by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Compared to the lizard dog thing we had.
Yes. So apparently most cultures have accounts of human-like giants. So this is just
the American version.
Yeah, American version. Yeah. The name was recorded in the late 19th century by European Americans.
The Sasquatch or the Bigfoot.
Probably Sasquatch.
Yeah, I thought so.
But then they think that it could have been spotted elk or grizzly bears or something like that.
Because they hadn't seen before. Yeah.
Yeah. About a third of all of the sightings are in the Pacific Northwest, with the remaining 2/3 being the rest of the U.S. Specifically the Great Lakes region and southeastern U.S. So I guess it's more than just one Bigfoot roaming around.
I guess so, yeah.
There's no scientific proof, and cryptologists contributed all to hoaxes or misidentified animals or people just messing with other people.
Yeah.
There's really not much more information about it.
I do recall when I was younger seeing a lot of Bigfoot conspiracy stuff on TV.
Yeah.
There's that really famous video footage, which you you can't do that now. You can't do that on your iPhone now because you've got bloody 20 million megapixels in your phone. You're going to be able to zoom in and see exactly the zipper at the back if it's fake. Yep. But there's always that one where he sort of had his hands at his side walking and he kind of slightly looks over his shoulder. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the main one I've seen.
Yep.
And I suppose you really can't deny there's something tall with long hair, but is that a costume? Probably.
Yeah, it could be a gorilla costume.
Yeah. And what other there was TV shows that had there was it was Henry, was it not Henry and no, it was Henry. Yeah, something in the Hendersons. What is it? Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
That's when they had Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever came to the house.
Yeah.
I remember watching that was an American show, but we sometimes had it on Britain.
Okay.
Not too often. Probably will be a bear most of the time because there's no reason why a bear looks exactly like that if it stands on its 2 feet and you know it can. And if I see a bear, I'm running, so I'm assuming that other people are doing the same.
Except the ones that describe it as strong and pleasant smells.
Yeah, well, I'm sure bears probably have strong and pleasant smells too.
Probably.
And probably for quite a distance because they mark territory that way, do not. I would like to think this one is true. I would like to. I doubt it is. It's probably a bear. And you'll see a reason why I probably believe that for something I'm going to be doing in a minute as well, which we'll get onto. But I don't know. I think it's probably one of the most famous
Yes.
At least in America.
It's huge in pop culture.
Yeah.
There's 59 movies, 14 video games, tons of books, TV, sports, theater.
Wow.
So much related to
Theater
Bigfoot.
and sports?
Yes.
I suppose there might be like I don't know, Montana's Bigfoot. I don't know if Montana's up that way. No idea. But yeah, and I saw, I'm trying to think what else I had a Bigfoot. There was, just the name alone, it makes me somehow remember lots of things but not remember anything. Like, I don't know, it's a staple of cryptids, I guess.
Yeah. Sasquatch Squatch was the mascot of the Seattle Supersonics. So he was a Bigfoot. Okay. And then Quachi was one of 3 mascots for the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. He was portrayed as a young Sasquatch who comes from the mysterious forest of Canada.
The serious forest?
Mysterious.
Oh, mysterious.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, it was Harry and the Hendersons. That was
that's the main TV show I remember. Yeah. I don't remember any movies with it. I can't think of any movies, but I'm not denying that there's probably heaps of them. Many. If there's one of a chupacabra, there's definitely one of a Bigfoot, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's one just called Bigfoot. There's a Harry and the Hendersons movie.
Oh.
He was in and there's also just movies that
Wait, was it a TV show or was it just a movie?
No, it was both.
Okay.
He was in a Goofy movie. There's a movie called...
The Goofy, as in Disney Goofy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hotel Transylvania he was in.
Oh, yeah, because he would be... Yeah, because, he would just use it as random things, I guess. Sure.
I guess he was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think there must have been so many sightings. They probably don't even have a list of them because there must be so many.
Yeah. I couldn't even find a list of sightings.
And I bet there's still people today searching for them, like spending actual money searching for them. And I bet these foreigners who'll pay good money to someone to take them out of the mountains pretend to look for it.
There are annual Bigfoot related conventions.
What?
Yeah, and where is this at?
Where they come just to speak about the just new discoveries, I guess.
So there's Pacific Northwest tourism. Bigfoot plays a big role in that. And then, so there's this thing called the Sasquatch Days that was held for several years in British Columbia.
Sasquatch Days?
Yeah. So, still very much big in tourism and people trying to find them. Yeah.
No, I don't not like this one. I don't not like that. Yeah, I think it is what it is. I know it's not true. Mm-hmm. It's definitely one that's not going to go anywhere for a while. No, it's not going to forget about that. It's well, in saying that, you don't hear much, because of things like phones. You don't get so many conspiracies, so they're not stay so much in the pot. When we were younger, because cameras were just at the point where it was super shaky and you couldn't see anything, you couldn't pause anything without wobbling up and down like it was on a bouncy castle. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got much more information about Bigfoot. So that takes us on to my next one actually quite nicely, because my next one is essentially the Himalayan version. What do you think the Himalayan version is?
The abominable snowman.
The abominable. I can't say this. I said it earlier when you asked me to say it. I was like, I can't say it. Abominable. Yes. Abominable. Got it. Abominable snowman, also known as the Yeti. So this is essentially the same thing as the Bigfoot, but mainly in the Himalayas, which covers a number of countries, specifically Nepal, but also seen in Pakistan, Mongolia, China, India, and even Russia. And it's essentially, well, you know what? When you think of the Yeti, what do you think of?
A white-haired.
Yeah, Bigfoot. Exactly. Everyone thinks of a white-haired Bigfoot, but going through my research, the Yeti has never been thought of or never seen or sort of researched as having white hair.
Really?
Or like polar bear style hair. No, it's always seen as exactly the same as Bigfoot. Dark brown or orange hair. Or dark red hair. Description-wise, it's almost identical to that of the Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. It is seen to be between 6 and 10 feet tall. Big footprints being the main or the initial indicator of the sightings. It is it's been seen for many years, like way back in Nepal, and it's part of their folklore. And they've got basically the name, heaps of different names for it. I can't pronounce any of these because they're all in Nepali or various different dialects. But they call it basically the man bear, the cattle bear, the wild man, the snow ape, the wild man, the jungle man, and the snowman. So there's heaps of different names that all translate slightly different ways. It was first brought to like Western culture in around 1921, or at least it was first called the abominable snowman in 1921 by a Lieutenant Colonel, George Howard Bury, who went up to an expedition up Everest. It's the tallest mountain in the world, etc. And he recalled finding feet prints which seemed, massive compared to the normal humans. He spoke to his Sherpas about it, and they just said, "Oh yeah, it's the wild man of the snows," and they gave him the Nepali name Metoi Kangim, which translated to the man bear back then. Since he came back and sort of spoke about it, almost every other person who went to Everest somehow had some relation to it and talked about it a little bit, or had some sort of sighting. Actually, back earlier than I mentioned, it was mentioned in some of the more sort of the Nepalian and the Chinese journals and information, where they spotted a tall bipedal creature with long dark hair, and it fleed people. People believed it to be an orangutan. Some people believe it to be part of like Buddhist beliefs, where people thought it was like a glacier being or a god of the hunt, and just like a wild man used for mystical ceremonies, an ape-like creature essentially. But there's not been as many sightings recently, maybe because not as many people go up the Himalayas, or at least looking for yetis. It's not quite as easy as it is going through northwest of America. Yeah, I think similar to the Bigfoot, it's essentially believed to be a big bear.
Yeah.
There's a couple of times people think it could have been an antelope or a version of an antelope. Well, no, I take it back. They've done some studies on hair found and kind of various bones and stuff that are found, and they're like, oh, this doesn't seem to match anything. What is it? And initially, it was thought, okay, it must be the Yeti. And then, as time goes on, people have better research. They find the hairs were rabbits, or it was types of antelopes, or it was a bear. The most likely, what people think it is the Asiatic bear, a black bear, which seems to have almost, it can stand on 2 feet, it can climb trees, it can run, it's big. They believe that's most likely what the Yeti is. Of course, unproven, but how can you prove something that people claim is something? Yeah. You can't. There's no way of proving it, really. Yeah. Because there's just sightings, there's no real evidence. There was 1 or 2 times where DNA has come back like unknown. It doesn't match anything out there currently, similar to how it's like it could be related to this, but it's not proven, so they're unsure. So that's where there is some discussion that Yeti could still exist, and because the Himalayas are such a massive area of land and so treacherous, it's hard to really rule out the fact that there could be a Homo sapien type creature living up there. Regardless, they don't believe it is intelligent any more than a bear. But there's heaps of information about them being kind of looked. Even some people are thinking it could be an old extinct giant ape that lived around that area, like basically bigger than an orangutan, bigger than a gorilla, but more human-like. Again, I don't know how you can prove that either. And there's probably, just as though there's so many bodies of humans up in Everest, there's probably bodies of other old animals that are still frozen somewhere. Yeah. Possibly. But there's lots of different explanations, the bear being the main one. Pop culture wise, do you know much about Yeti?
I know it was in Monsters Inc.
Oh yes, there was one too. Yeah, I didn't remember that one. Yes, of course. Well, the 2 main Yetis I know are the microphone that we are using, the Blue Yeti.
I was just about to say
the box is right beside us and it's got Yetis all over it. It's not a sponsor, but it should be. Blue, pay for us. Yeah, right. 12 listeners. And then the Yeti tumbler drinks thing, which I guess makes sense because it's all like holding cool things. I can't think of many of the Yetis. I know there's been, again, kids shows where like Tintin or something will have an episode about Yetis, and there was a video like, back in the early 2000s where you'd play games on your PC and it was like miniclips.com or something, and you'd play like flash games on a computer.
I don't think I did that.
No, okay, well, maybe it was just me being lame as, but we used to play Flash games. So you'd go to a website and you'd load up a Flash game, and they had like Yeti Olympics where you played as a Yeti and you played different games. That's the only other time I remember Yetis. There's a couple, as I said, TV shows have had it. Oh yeah, Tintin, Doctor Who's had it. A couple of books sort of using it as character, but nothing major. It's used quite a lot in Nepal for like touristy type stuff. So if you go to a tourist shop, you'll see a Yeti is like the symbol. I don't know what do you see symbol. You guys have an eagle, they have a Yeti. I saw on stamps and stuff like that. There's an attraction in Disney about the Yetis, apparently. I've not seen it. Yes. Oh, actually, yeah, it's an Expedition Everest. Yeah. You've been there?
I did not write it, no.
You know, but you saw it. It's apparently in the movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't remember that, the 1964 one, Christmas one. Apparently. I've not seen that though, so I don't know. I've seen the images of it, but...
Was his name Bumble?
It could be. I don't know. Oh, yes, Bumble, yes.
Yeah.
Bumble, the Abominable Snowman, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And Monsters Inc., as you mentioned. But they're the main ones, and like, yeah, it's used to bring in some tourism to that area, which I guess is not the last we'll hear of using that for that purpose, I'm sure.
This one does the same.
Scotland. Yeah, that's about all I've got. Without going into too much detail, we've got a lot more to get through, so.
Alright.
Cool. What's your next one?
The Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness Monster!
Yeah.
Yay!
Where's that one at?
I have no idea. Where would you find the Loch Ness Monster?
I don't know. So it is an aquatic sea serpent that inhabits Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands.
Where's that?
Scotland.
Yes. Okay.
So it's similar to most lake monsters that are described. It's got like a large, long neck, multiple humps that protrude the water. Just a big sea serpent. It has been said to look kind of like a dinosaur. Brought into attention in 1933. Since then, I've got a list of some of the sightings, but most of them have been like disputed photos. You can't really tell what it is. There's some sonar readings of something going on in the lake, but they're not really sure what it is. So like in 1933, this guy and his wife said that it crossed in front of them when they were driving on the road.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So it
just
apparently
like
comes out of the water as well.
Oh, okay.
Then in 1933, there was a photograph taken. And then for the next couple of years, it goes back and forth between it crossed in front of me on the road. There was a photo, like back and forth. In 1954, they had sonar readings by the Revival 3 that detected something and then lost it really quickly. And they weren't ever able to tell like what it was. 1955, this guy had a photo, but then it was determined it was a hoax. In 2007, there's the Holmes video. It's the best video footage they've got so far, but scientists still think it was like a seal or an otter or something.
Yeah.
2011, sonar imaging, there was a 1.5 meter wide object floating underneath the boat, and they don't know what it was.
Okay.
Then some more videos with mysterious waves. They think it could be wind gusts. And then in 2014, I didn't know you could do this. So 2014, Apple Maps like photoed, there was a satellite image that, I knew that you could do this one. There was a satellite image and it looked like something was like in the water, but they said it could be the wake of a boat. Then in 2015, Google Street View set it up where you can look under the water. In Loch Ness now.
I kind of want to do that.
I tried. I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, okay.
But you can apparently go under the water and search for the Loch Ness Monster.
I feel like that would be exactly what Google would do, and then they'd hoax everyone by putting in some sort of image of a Loch Ness Monster.
Probably. But they apparently worked with like a lot of the, like they had divers go underwater and like take images and everything. You can just go under the water in Google Images or Google Street View and look for this. There's not much more information about it. I don't know if it exists.
It would be great. So there's a whole, obviously I'm a little bit, you hear a lot about this being from Scotland. I think otters are the main, everyone goes, almost everyone from a scientific view said, it's an otter, or like a salmon, or an otter. But so the thing about Loch Ness, it's like one of the deepest lakes in the world, apparently. And there is a part where it sort of gets really close to the sea. I don't know if it actually breaks into the sea or not. So they believe it could be, it could have access to the sea, especially if it goes over land. But because it's so deep, it's been so difficult for such a long time to actually get proper readings, because sonar actually only goes to a certain depth. You can't get all the way down to the bottom of Loch Ness. So people think, oh, is it really that deep or not? But yeah, I've seen a lot of the pictures that you can't make out anything. Even worse than the Bigfoot ones. It's like you know how you sometimes put your hand and pretend bleeding dove.
Yes,
and that's exactly what it's like.
Look like.
And then there's other ones that have proven to be dogs and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And there's never been any tracks, never been anything. No. But there's plenty of food, and it is big enough. But it must be dead by now. How many things? There's no animals that really last that long. Yeah. And if it was breeding, surely it'd be multiplying, so you'd see more. See something, yeah. You know, so I wish it was true. It would be very good. But there's been a lot of pop culture for it. At least I've witnessed pop culture for it. Like, where you go? What have you got? Because you probably got a better list.
Monsters Inc.
Was it?
Loch Ness Monster was banished from Monstropolis. I guess along with the Yeti, because he was also banished.
Okay.
The Water Horse was a movie with it. It was in a bunch of TV shows: Simpsons, Real Monsters, Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I would have thought it'd be in it. Like almost every one at some point. Yeah, great source of
games, theater, literature. There's a roller coaster in Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Virginia.
There's also a roller coaster, or there used to be in Portobello Arcades, called. Was it Loch? Oh no, was that called Caterpillar? No, it was in Loch Ness. Yeah, and then a kid died on it once, so it was closed. Cool story. At least I think it was Loch Ness. Was it the Nessie ride? Yeah, it was the Nessie ride. I don't remember going out. I probably did when I was younger. That's where I lived, guys. Yeah, just that's I knew it from that. Yeah. There was also a really good TV show, and any British person will love this, called Family Ness, and it was about a family of Nessies, and it was like they all had really Scottish accents and had a really good theme tune. I'm going to put the theme tune in if I'm going to put it into this, so I'm going to clip it in now. So enjoy it, guys. Mac 2 blows on his bagpipes, while Elspeth and Angus watch those notes go floating across the waves. Ferocious Ness appears at once and grabs a note or two for lunch, and the whole of the family Ness is not too far behind. Sporty Ness leaps over him, turns upside down, then dives back in, and the beautiful, lovely Ness shows she's the kissing kind. Highway Ness comes up for air and taking notes without a care, returns with a I can't remember anyone's names, but they're all jumping out of the water, and you had like Mummy Ness, Baby Ness, and like the drunk one and the stupid one. It was funny. Hilarious. Yeah. I
want to go watch this after.
Family Ness. That was good. Anyway, what else? And then, oh my god, if you go to Edinburgh, especially, well, you've been to Edinburgh, you might have noticed in the Royal Mile, you go to all the touristy shops, and it's like Nessie dolls everywhere, Nessie this and Nessie that, and they've always got a wee tartan hat on.
Yep, we actually went to Loch Ness.
Oh yeah.
I took a picture being the Loch Ness Monster.
You taking? Oh, that has to be the Instagram picture when you send us up.
Alright.
As long as we can tell you're being a Loch Ness Monster. But you know what? No, even if we can't, I want to send it. Can you guess what monster I'm trying to be?
Great.
No, there's a couple of movies about a Loch Ness Monster. Like Scottish ones where like hiding in the caves and there was two monsters. Famous ones from the 90s of like poor but good CGI. And people tried to come and kill them and stuff. I can't remember what they were called, but they were good movies. I remember watching them as a kid. But Nessie is my favourite of all the ones we're going to talk about. I guess I have to claim Nessie is my favourite. Yeah.
I mean, except mermaids. I think you're obsessed with them.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Alright, what's your next one?
Alright, I'm going to go for a lesser known one before I hit my two more well known ones. My next one's called the Aswang. The Aswang? Aswan? I think I hope I'm saying that right. I should have looked it up. But this is another one from Asia area. This is a Philippine one. The Aswan, or the Uswang, is a shape-shifting monster from Filipino folklore. Have you ever heard of it? No, I didn't tell the researchers as well. It's a strange one. So it usually possesses a combination of traits from either like vampires or ghouls, warlocks, witches type thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes some of them all together, like a mix between a vampire and a witch, which is strange. I don't know. It seems quite particular, and it's been like subject of a lot of different myths and stories around that area. So as soon as sort of the Spanish colonized the area, this Wanga was feared, and it was the Spanish feared it because all the Philippines told stories of it and they couldn't prove it otherwise, and it was new land. So even back in the 16th century when the Spanish started taking over, they heard about this creature. Anyway, anthropologists, like people who've studied the taking over there, believe that it came from myth making of Spaniards to keep population control down, which I don't quite understand, but and it just kind of helped make the towns closer together, not having people stray out of the towns and going to the outskirts of the forest. If it kept them scared, you can keep control of them, which kind of I guess makes sense. The appearance, what do you think? Just from that description, or not, I've given you much of a description. What do you think the Aswanga looks like?
I don't know. You said it could like transform into different.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it says it's a shapeshifter. So
at first
it's
I thought it was like a vampire.
The most arbitrary thing you could say about a cryptid. Oh, it's shapeshifter. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it could be anything. It could be Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what general description does it hold? Because like if it can shapeshift, like what is its normal?
Well, that was a bit of a trick question, really, because
Okay.
they don't actually give a thing. They say it's the most common thing that's been said as is a shapeshifter.
Okay.
So it doesn't really give you any sort of description. I don't know how you can say you've accounted and seen it if it's a shapeshifter, but sometimes they say it even transforms into people part of the town. So it could transform into you and me, which means, so you probably just saw that person. And then at night time they'll transform into a bird or a bat and fly off, or even like a boar or a cat. So it sort of makes me think, how can it be any of this stuff? Like, just because you saw a bat suck someone's blood, and then your neighbour walked by, you think it's the same thing? I don't know. Maybe they were just a little bit more strange back then. They were believed to eat on, kind of eat on fetuses and small children. I don't know how you're going to eat on a fetus if it's in the belly, but and they favoured livers and hearts. Again, I think it's probably because those two things meant something to people. People didn't know much about lungs back then, I don't think.
Yeah.
They apparently sucked the children out of mothers' wombs, which is quite a brutal thing. This is probably the most brutal one so far. It actually seems like more of a demon than anything else. They do it when they're sleeping at homes. And apparently some are thin, they can hide behind bamboo. Some are super fast and super silent, but some claim that they made noises like a ticking clock. And somehow they got louder as they got further away, which again it all seems a little bit strange. A couple of victims or people who claim to have been attacked said they're very aggressive and they come swinging at you with like branches and stuff, so they have weapons. So I don't know. It's all a little bit strange, but it's I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Some people said the sounds a little bit like a hen laying an egg. And that even sometimes they'll, if you think someone in your village has died, they'll come back as a doppelganger of them. So they obviously don't believe in healing people. They just think you've come back as a different person. So essentially, so far what we've got is a creature who's a demon, a witch, and a boa, or a beast, who can shapeshift into anything, attacks you with weapons, sucks babies out of women's tummies. So it's kind of like the most random...
Terrifying.
Yeah. It could be really used well in pop culture, which it hasn't really been used much, probably because the name's kind of odd. It's not a very threatening name, I don't feel. Slightly more... How it differs from some of the things that's been described as like the vampire and the ghoul and stuff, is that it's not affected by sunlight. So apparently the daywalkers, who knew, and they can be befriended. So although it sounds like they're very vicious at the moment, they can be befriended by any normal human, and they can laugh and cry, get sad, be hurt, humiliated. But this, some people believe, is because they believe to be shaped into humans, and the humans are acting because it's just a normal person.
Yeah.
So they think that, it's like calling someone a witch essentially, but not really. What else is there? Oh, but it's weird because they say the people that do turn it, or the people that have become them, if you befriend them and they have all these emotions, they become better than friends, and that they care for you, and that they will help you out, and that they're actually better than the other people, which is even more strange. So, in a good sense, if you make a good friend, then that's good, I guess. Similar to vampires, apparently they're repelled by garlic and religious artifacts.
Okay.
Which just seems like they're just clambering on another myth. Whips are good against them, or I guess at the tail of a stingray, apparently.
Okay, I have one of those lying around.
Oh yeah, everyone does. Steve, everyone does it. Oh shit, you went there. That's bad. I like that guy. He was good. If anyone could have proven if these things existed, it would have been him. They cannot sleep on holy ground, so people were afraid to go to churches, as you'd expect. Blah blah blah. And decapitation is the only way to stall an Aswanga.
All right.
Yeah. I've not got much more information. There isn't, surprisingly enough, there isn't too much descriptive information on them, and sightings are almost none.
Yeah.
You know, like people. Well, it's like official sightings where they've got any proof of anything, because it's just Steve's an Aswanga, but no, it's just Steve. Pop culture wise, there isn't too much. There was a movie called Evil Island, or Surviving Evil in 2009, with no one really knowing it other than maybe Billy Zane. A horror film, but Aswanga apparently played a role in that. There wasn't really too much else. A couple of kind of Asian films where they used it as the bad guy, and some of those sort of supernatural TV shows. But not much else. This is a poor one. I probably should have chosen another one, but because I'd already chosen it and started researching it, I said, okay, we should go with this.
I think they had one on Grimm.
Oh yeah? Probably. Grimm was basically all about cryptids and stuff, wasn't it?
It was so good.
Yeah.
This one sounds like a kind of like, I don't know how to say this without it being like not PC or being PC.
We'll see. I can cut it out if it's not PC.
But like it's like a way for this culture just to like describe bad things that happen. Like if a mom lost her kid, then like the pregnancy was like didn't go through or something, then it was described as this, or like, even like psychological things, like because it kind of like the whole split personality thing almost could be described as, well, that person is an Aswang.
Well, yeah, and that also could be like a way of describing crimes, and because like everyone seems nice when you're around them in the daytime, and then at night time something bad happened, or that guy does something bad, it's because it's a Swanga.
Yeah.
And it seems... Yeah, but I guess that makes sense. If it goes back to the 1600s, then I guess that makes sense, because people just didn't know. People were gullible. Well, not gullible, they just didn't know. They just didn't know.
The information.
Yeah. But it's the way it's described, it's like a complete... there must be some other things that I'm trying to think of all the pop culture which is similar. But it's just a complete shapeshifter and blends in doppelganger type stuff, and then at night time it goes out and commits its crimes or becomes a predator.
A strange one.
And it can like change its voice and suck your blood, and I don't know. It's probably the most fearsome one we've seen so far.
For sure.
And we spoke about its weaknesses, didn't we? Yeah. Garlic. So it's even to back some of that stuff up now as well. It's saying like Aswangas generally have bloodshot eyes. Why do you think the description of, or the reason why they have bloodshot eyes is?
Because they're awake during the night.
Wow, yeah, you got it. Because they're awake all during the night. And I'm like, that's just humans. That's just what happens if you're awake all night. Your eyes hurt like shit. It seems like stupid. Apparently, if you look directly in a Swanga's eyes, your reflection will be upside down. So, and that's apparently was the most common way of looking into a human and seeing if they were real or not. Which, does that not happen anyway?
I don't know. Never. I was just trying to.
Let me look into your eyes. Come close. Oh no, I'm the right way up. Okay, so I guess maybe that's not the case. But you're not a Swanga. It's okay. But I suppose if you did see that, you might be a little bit confused.
Yeah.
But even so.
What if my eyes would have been upside down? Would you have thought it was an Aswang?
I would have... No, because I would have just thought it was normal, because I thought that beforehand. So I don't know. So maybe you are, and I just don't know. Maybe we are just normally always flipped. So do you want to know what the explanation of the myth is? So one theory is that native wildlife was the inspiration for the legends. The tick-tick and the whack-whack of the hunting calls were probably because of nocturnal birds that they didn't hear during the day. Bats, Tasmanian devils, kawang, I'm assuming it's another animal. It's an endangered species of flying lemur. Have all been killed actually because they thought they were the aswangas and transformed. So it's unusual animals. Tasmanian devil is a weird looking animal. So is a flying lemur, and bats. They're all believed to be. So they've all been actually killed in these areas for all that. But they sometimes think that it could be also the presence of a rare genetic disease called XDP, which almost exclusively affects Filipino men, and it causes the patients to have Parkinsonian and diazonic symptoms, where they're basically affected with like muscle spasms that they can't control, contortions and tremors, similar to kind of Parkinson's disease, but kind of almost more aggressive version. And that might make them look like they're shape-shifting as they're sort of wriggling about, essentially, which seems weird for me to say, but... and apparently the legend has been used to explain some of the most horrendous unsolved crimes in the Philippines, which doesn't surprise me going by what we spoke about a moment ago. Yeah. But it's all it's believed to be all mythology. There's no actual physical evidence that it's been for a couple of other things.
Cool.
Next
is mermaids or mer people.
Mer people.
Alright, mer people. So,
to be honest, it's getting on to an hour, so we maybe...
Okay, I can go quickly.
Yeah, I spent way too long talking about this. Sorry.
Legendary aquatic creatures. Upper body human, lower body fish. Appear in folklore worldwide. Some of the first stories were in ancient Assyria. There was a goddess named...
Where? Sorry? Assyria?
Ancient Assyria.
Where's Assyria?
I'm assuming it's like Syria, just...
okay, right, sorry.
Don't know.
Yeah, okay, you're good.
So the goddess Atagardis transformed herself into a mermaid out of shame for accidentally killing her human lover.
Okay.
So that's like where this originated.
I didn't know that. I thought it originated somewhere else, but okay, carry on.
They're sometimes associated with like perilous events like floods, storms, shipwrecks, drownings, things like that. And then some attributes are also influenced by the sirens from Greek mythology. They think a lot of the historical accounts may be inspired by misidentified sightings of like manatee or other aquatic mammals. Yeah, so some of the reported sightings were Christopher Columbus off the coast of Hispaniola in 1493. Thought he saw one. Yeah. Blackbeard's logbooks, they're in there. The sightings are mostly sailors or pirates or people like that, and usually they contribute them to manatee or other big mammals. And then nowadays, hoaxes are usually like paper mache body parts and things like that.
Yeah, you don't often hear about a sighting of a mermaid. Mm-mm. Like I've almost heard about sightings of all these minus Aswanga, but never mermaid. Yeah. Maybe it's because it's become so mythical. Yeah. Like it's almost like by the sounds of it was mythical, became a reality, then kind of gone back mythical again.
Yep. And so now it's huge in pop culture.
Yeah, massive. That's actually probably the biggest one out of all. Well, no, we've got one more coming later on. It's probably more big, but this is probably the second biggest one.
Little Mermaid, the movie, obviously, and the book, based off a book. There's other movies too. Mermaid fandom, cosplay, human divers. Like, this stuff's legit.
Oh, you mean, okay, so, I thought you were taking a movie called Cosplay. Like,
no.
You mean that's people
like,
into.
People buy these silicone mermaid tails to be mermaids.
Yeah, I've got a feeling there's probably a big fetish thing behind that somewhere. Like, the same thing as furries. There's no doubt, dude, somewhere like, oh, you're man mermaids. Yeah. I am not one.
So, these tails are like, they can range between $895 and like $2,700.
What?
For a silicone tail that you put on and you go swimming.
Oh, this is actually people to go. Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but like they're also like fins? Really heavy.
Like wearing fins is super cool.
Well, you can buy one for only $2,700.
Yeah, that's not saving.
Plus add-ons.
Of course, you need add-ons. Yeah.
And
need a clamshell.
There's There's this girl called Mermaid Melissa, and she's like a big person who does pool parties.
Is she a big person, or does she's like? You mean she's big in the game?
Like a big name person who does.
She's not like a big mermaid.
Who does pool parties, and you can hire this person. Mermaid Melissa.
Mermaid Melissa.
Yes.
You can. What? So she'd come to your party?
Yeah, like if you had like I mean, I guess anybody could hire her, but my thought would be like a 7-year-old child who loved mermaids.
Oh, and she comes.
Melissa.
Oh, yeah. I bet she looks exactly like Ariel, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's making money, yeah. I know a lot of people who absolutely love Little Mermaid, the movie.
Yeah.
It's like one of their favorite Disney movies.
I loved Little Mermaid. I cried in Little
Mermaid. It was good because we could relate to it a lot easier than animals because it was still kind of us.
Yeah.
My first memories of mermaids are from Peter Pan.
Okay, yeah.
The mermaids in that, which help and don't help him. And Splash, the movie Splash with Tom Hanks.
Okay. Where
he saves the mermaid and she gets legs and stuff. And then obviously Little Mermaid. I think that's the main ones.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't think of many. I know I've seen it in hundreds of things.
Marine or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of like...
there's so many. It's almost been in everything again. Are they real?
I would like to think they were, but I think that's because at heart I love The Little Mermaid.
If there was going to be one thing where there could be like an underwater civilization living as mermaids, or like this is probably one of the biggest chances because how much, but they would be much creepier looking than we think because they'd be the deep parts of the sea and they'd be fucking like transparent and like weird googly eyes.
Okay, well, that's what I was about to say. We forgot one movie that they are in, and they are scary.
Oh, I don't know.
Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They are
and
scary.
They are pretty scary.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a more realistic version of what they could be like. I think in Peter Pan, like the original, they were meant to be like bad in that as well.
I know they didn't like Wendy.
No, they didn't like Wendy. They tried to drown Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I think they're definitely a good addition, and I don't know why little girls seem to like the thought of mermaids, but
because they're so magical and pretty.
Magical and pretty.
And
yeah,
sparkly.
I guess so.
Alright, that's all I have for mermaids.
No, that's a good one. I like mermaids. Alright, I was mistaken. I do have two more. The second and last one, Kraken. Now, for some reason, the Kraken's kind of come back into culture a little bit in the last 10 years or so. I'm going to put that down to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
But I think it was only in like the third one. But anyway, to go over the Kraken, essentially it started in like Viking times, back in Norway and Iceland, and it came from originally Norwegian mythology. Well, I say mythology, they initially thought it was real. It came from the late 13th century version of an old Icelandic saga where a boat went out to sea near Greenland, and it saw two massive sea creatures, one called Hafaguffa. I said that wrong. I even looked up how to say this. Haguf? I don't know. And Ligbak. Basically, two creatures. One to believe the Hafaguffa sea mist. Another one was called Heatherback. The Lingback was believed to be like a big whale, and the Haguffa was sea mist, but believed later to be kind of become what we now know as the Kraken. No, it wasn't originally thought to be like what you naturally think, like an octopus squid type thing. It was actually thought to be more like a crab and like a massive land mass. There's some people believe it could have gone up to like a mile long, and take a big bit of land. And there's a lot of old Norwegian and Icelandic mythology behind it, where it used to be big enough to take a whole boat and just clamp itself around it and just sink it. Other times the boats would be sailing, and all of a sudden this big bit of land would appear and the boat would crash into it when it'd actually be the creature itself. Later on, I was actually part of an official scientific book at one point when it was described, and it was mentioned that there was only one of it in the world. It was infertile and couldn't breed, but there was one in it. It was later removed from additions, but at one point it was believed to be a real life thing. Since like way back in the early sort of 10s, 1300s, it's kind of slowly become more squid-like because of sightings of things like giant squids and octopuses in the sea, which make it like more realistic. They think that the original versions was actually probably more likely to be volcanic activity, where underwater volcanoes would happen and you'd see bubbling, and then you'd see big tidal changes in the sea, and then you'd often see, because of volcanic activity, like land would appear because of the lava sort of creating like new formations in the land and stuff. So that's what they take the initial ones to. The later ones was just sort of a little bit more people traveling the seas a bit more and coming across other new creatures such as big squids, and just a little bit of exaggeration on pirates and other creatures. There was one guy who actually wrote about it in another sort of book, saying that it was the reason why 10 British warships and a French ship had sunk or mysteriously disappeared in like the 1700s. But Britain later told them they know exactly what happens because there was a couple of survivors and stuff. So that guy was kind of shamed after being a scientist and saying they're real, and actually not being real at all. 18th century was when it was sort of considered to be a big octopus-like creature, and as I mentioned, it's about people sailing the seas and seeing big squids, and it's believed to have big spikes on the end of its suckers as it comes round, and that's where it sort of kind of continued on that way. Although it's been believed to be a crab, and whales in the past are like believed to be similar to that. It's been included in a lot of. The dog has come into the room and wants to play. Like really erratically wants to play. The Kraken, it continues today, and it's on lots of heaps of stuff. We know it from Pirates of the Caribbean. I think I don't know if it was actually in that movie, the famous line, "Release the Kraken."
Yeah.
Was that in that movie?
Yeah.
That's like there's memes all over the place of Release the Kraken. At least I see them. So that's quite familiar, and it's been in books and video games as creatures. I know it's been in various Greek mythology ones for some reason, even though it's Nordic mythology. It was even in things like Moby Dick, the book. There was a chapter named the Squid, which they believed was referring to the Kraken.
Yeah. Or
at least the mythology of the Kraken. Yeah, so that's another one which... This one's actually probably... Although it started off with something else, this one's probably more realistic to be actual creature just exaggerated. Like, they've got it quite... If it is related to a giant squid now, it's actually kind of almost more accurately correct, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, although they've exaggerated it to be able to take it down a boat, some of the giant squids you see are massive.
Yeah, they are. Have you seen Moana?
I haven't seen Moana yet.
Okay, so in it, there's a big crab. And that's what the beginning of that description of the Kraken reminded me of. Like, it's huge. Like, it's bigger than people. Yeah. And could possibly be a landmass. But I don't think it was actually related. I don't think, like, it was supposed to be the Kraken in that. Yeah. But that's what it reminded me of. No,
I get that. That would make sense. As in, like, it's obviously something people see. Like, when turtles or crabs come up. It has been at some point in the world a massive crab that looks pretty impressive, especially from a distance on a boat when you can't quite gauge distance when you're out and you have no horizon line really, or no structure to play off. Yeah. But I like the Kraken. There's a rum in Britain called Kraken or something to do with Kraken. My little brother likes it. Okay. What was it called? Maybe it's just called Release the Kraken rum. I can't remember. But yeah, he really likes that. I don't know why, I just recalled that's where I know Kraken from. But yeah, this is definitely used quite a lot in memes. I know that much. And the songs and all that stuff. Yeah. I think sea things, because we've had the mermaid with Kraken. That's not only 2 sea ones actually. Yeah, I feel like sailors and sea trips kind of that harbours quite a lot of mythology because people are on boats for long periods, especially back in the days they used to travel a lot. Yeah. Used to just make things up because that's what they were thinking about. Bored. Yeah.
Release the Kraken because I'm bored.
Yeah.
All right. Next one?
Next.
Mothman.
Yeah.
This one's a little creepy. I'm not going to lie.
This one's a little strange as well.
Yeah. So this one's in West Virginia. And there's not much information about him. So it was the Point Pleasant area of West Virginia. And he was said to be sighted from November 12th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967.
Okay, it's only for a year.
Yeah,
okay.
About a year. So November 12th, 1966, 2 men were digging a grave and claimed to have seen a man-like figure fly over their heads in the trees. So then after that was the first sighting, November 15th, that same year, 2 couples saw a large flying man. They were driving, and he was standing in front of them, and they said that his eyes like glowed red in their car lights, and that he had 10-foot wings.
Oh wow!
And then so there were similar sightings over the next few days, and then like a lot of sightings, and then I guess it kind of died down, but like they would be sporadic sightings, and then in December 15th, 1967. There was the Silver Bridge collapsed in Mount Pleasant, and 46 people were killed. And they contributed that to this Mothman. And that was basically the end of him.
Oh.
Like this bridge collapsed, and then they said he did it, and then he's gone.
Case closed.
So over that year, there was at least 100 reported sightings, but they think there could have been more that people were just scared to come forward and admit that they had seen him or like whatever. And then in 2016, this anonymous man took claimed to have taken a photo of Mothman while driving, but scientists say it was probably a large bird. Some people claim he was an alien, there's just a bunch of different hoaxes that they don't really know what it was. They said it could be like a large crane or like an owl.
Yeah. No, I know I heard something. It could be like a heron or crane, like an unusual species. Because they've got big wingspans. We used to get heron in my back garden back in Scotland, and they're, pretty big birds compared to most birds you see. It was quite funny we were doing this because there's another podcast called Do Go On. Okay. It's part of like the Planet Broadcasting Network stuff, and they actually just did last week an episode on the Mothman, which I listened to some of. And it's exactly as you've said, they go into a bit more detail just because they do one cryptid for the Wawa. Yes, exactly. And it was weird because you said it was seen a couple of times, but not really seen. And then people started relating it to disasters, but not only so the bridge one, but apparently it was related to other disasters.
Okay.
And so a guy believed it was going to cause a blackout or something, and then he went to New York or something, turned on the TV and was waited. He stocked up food and water, and he thought the whole place was going to black out and have a big disaster. And then he was watching TV, it didn't happen, but then he saw the bridge collapse, and then he was the one that was like, okay, that's due to the Mothman. And he started doing something. He wrote a book and followed it about and claimed other disasters were due to the Mothman, but so the description is just basically a man with big wings who flew
red eyes.
And red eyes.
Yeah.
And okay. Yeah, because I remember the one about the car apparently flew alongside the cars they were saying, or really fast. Yeah, that's one I hadn't heard of until we did this, even though I feel like I should have. Like, I'm sure Mothman's been like, the name's been used in comic books probably and other things like that.
I've heard it a little bit, but not much. And there's not much pop culture, but there's way more than I thought there would be. But it's more just like conspiracy movies and theories and shows and stuff like that. Yeah. There's really not very much because there's not very much on him. Yeah. He's just...
I wonder where the name Mothman came from. Actually, it's nighttime, looks like a bird, looks like a man, Mothman. Yeah. That's pretty straight. And because it was 1966, that's pretty recent really as well, in the grand scheme of things. Alright, the Mothman's kind of boring. Yeah. Well, I say that. I'm sure there's exciting stuff if we looked into it a bit more, but... Yeah,
I think he'd be creepy to run into.
Yeah, I wonder what he'd look like. Think he look like a man with just big wings, or do you think he look like a moth that looks like it has legs?
I don't know.
I think
does he have multiple legs?
Definitely creepy if it was a moth, because moths are creepy as fuck.
Yeah, they are.
Like that. So I sent Kayla a video of a moth the other day that was like as big as a guy's hand, probably bigger, and I was creeped out by that.
It was huge.
I'm creeped out by the wee ones that float around like the lights at night time. Sometimes, like, get away! I can't sleep with them in my room. Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's 8 cryptids. Yes. We're going to do 10. We didn't realize I was going to chat for so long about them, but that's good actually, because the one that I was going to talk, my last one was going to be a good one, and it's got so so much heritage and talk about it. So we might keep that for another thing at some point. And yeah, so we'll keep it. I won't tell you what it is just in case, but it was a good one. If I mentioned it already, good listening. But yeah. Yeah. All right, well, I'm done. What's your favourite out of the 8 we spoke about?
Probably mermaids.
I feel like I should say Nessie, but probably the Kraken. But it's only because I've seen it more recently, and maybe the Yeti too. I do like the idea of a Yeti. Cool. I like it with white fur though. I don't like Bigfoot going on holiday. And I like the Kraken because I like it. I like Norse mythology more than Filipino. All right, cool. Well, I've been Liam.
I'm Kayla.
And this has been Mumblecast. The Mumblecast, Instagram, Twitter. Please, someone send us something.
Please.
I'm feeling really lonely.
Yep.
But all right, good. We'll speak to you guys next week.
Bye. Bye.